This series is intended for mature audiences. We insist you heed the following content warnings before viewing. Horror themes, language, adult themes, and strong violence and gore, including gun violence. Welcome to the Weird West. Let us tell y'all a story.
Currently, the sun is rising over the horizon in Boonville. At least you're pretty sure that's what this town is called. You just woke up, and you left your rooms, making your way to the saloon for a place to sit that isn't a dusty and uncomfortable bed. The three of you gather through the swinging saloon doors, and you find yourselves sitting at a 4-person square table to the right of the doorway. The man at the bar gives you a nod as you've entered, but nothing more. He seems busy, his nose in a paper of some sort with glasses on the edge for him to squint through. Katrina left yesterday morning for her hometown, and you're not sure how long she'll be gone. As you sit in this tiny little town for only maybe 24 hours at this point, you're already bored out of your minds. I will hand the floor over to you. Will you now describe for the audience, you can introduce yourselves, your characters, and how you look sitting at this table in this morning. Roslyn, if you want to go first.
I am Karish. I play Roslyn Blythe. She is a younger woman who has dark, curly, like a mass of black curly hair that's pulled up into a partial ponytail. She is wearing just a generic corset type, not tied up too tight, just something she threw on this morning as she's sitting at the table, probably picking at some of the loose wood that's been scraped off by various patrons throughout the years, and just kind of looking around, seeing what everyone else is doing as they come downstairs, just being kind of bored.
Lavinia.
Lavinia is also quite dark-haired, but her ponytail high and tight, with bangs pulled out on the sides that sort of frame her face. She's looking really bored. Kind of sitting there at the table with her feet like kicked up, probably on a chair or a stool or something that she's pulled up next to her, and waiting for something interesting to happen.
All right, and last but not least.
Hi, I'm Kristen, and I'll be playing Maisie Taylor. She has long, flowing red hair that she wears down with sort of like a braided crown around the top of her head, and piercing green eyes. She'll be sitting at the table looking incredibly agitated. The stillness and lack of any progress or movement forward unsettles her and also frustrates her. You know, she's in this to get stuff done, and waiting around is not her specialty, nor is it anything that she enjoys.
All right, so with that, the three of you are sitting at this table. It's pretty early in the morning, and you're sitting there in silence for what feels like an eternity. Really, it's probably only been like 10 minutes. There's not much in terms of customers in the saloon right now. You see one person sitting over in the corner sleeping. They probably were here last night and just haven't left yet. And the person on the other side of the counter. He barely looks awake, but he's just there leaning against the wall. So you sit in an empty saloon with a barkeep that's paying you no mind, waiting for Katrina to return. What would you like to do?
And this is fairly early morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Roslyn is just, she's very anxious. She doesn't know where Katrina is. She's not used to being here. So I think she's going to look around at the other gals. So what are we just supposed to wait for her then to come back?
I was about to ask the same thing.
If anyone, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't think we should leave without her, but what if she doesn't come back? What if something happened?
How long should we wait? I think that's what I'm wondering.
That's a really good question. We could be sitting around here waiting forever, and I don't have the patience for that.
Maybe there's somewhere here that we can get something from, at least, if you know what I mean.
Make things a little more interesting.
Yeah, but this isn't that big of a town. There's not, whatever we do, we're going to get noticed real quick, I think.
Does that matter?
At that, the saloon doors actually swing open with a creak of a couple of the weathered hinges, and you hear heavy boots clunking against the floor. The spurs on both boots kind of dig in and ding with each step that he takes. Someone has entered and is walking over to the bar.
Now that looks like the exact kind of person I want to kill.
As you're glancing back, Maisie, make a notice roll for me.
Okay, 3.
Was that a D4?
I did the D4 and the D6, and they were both 3s.
Okay, yeah, because you won't add them together, so yeah, that was correct.
Yeah.
Glancing back, the man walking in, he's fairly tall, pretty, not like super muscular or anything, but he's got some heft to him. And as he walks up, his hat is obscuring his face, and you can't quite see any features, but he walks up and you see him set down a couple silver dollars and push them over to the barkeep, who looks up at him over the paper.
Do we have to kill him right away, or could we have a little fun with him first?
You know I don't do fun.
I do.
Then you can have your fun.
We could all go up and talk to him. Let him choose.
Fun, no fun, whatever you want to do.
In the middle.
I like to enjoy some things, but not you know what I mean.
Well, I think maybe we just have different definitions of fun.
That's fair.
I'm going to sit up and kind of straighten myself out, since I've been sitting with my feet all propped up and everything. And I'm going to look at the two of them and just go, shall we?
Absolutely. And Maisie will stand up and also kind of like fix herself, fluff some things up to present herself better, and be ready to walk over.
All right. So the three of you head over to this gentleman at the bar. All right. So as you walk over, how are you approaching him? And who is approaching him first, I guess I should say.
Unless anybody's really about getting to that first, I'd probably walk over pretty quickly.
Okay, and the other two, are you just hanging like almost like a on either side of her or kind of behind her, or
Maisie would kind of be both, like, so
Okay.
off to the side but also right behind her. She would want to be very noticed but also clearly not the one initiating anything.
Okay.
Yeah, Roslyn would take her lead and go ahead and just stay back a bit, but still be seen.
Sure. All right, so as you're approaching this man, he doesn't even look over to you quite yet. The barkeep grabs the silver dollars, brings them back, pockets them, and he actually turns around and heads into the back. And this is when this man turns his head to look over at the three of you. And now that you're closer up, he's got like a leather jacket of sorts, and it's brown with some wear and tear. And you see a brown hat as well, which is what was obscuring his face. He looks over to you, and you see a short beard, kind of salt and peppered, mostly graying. And as he looks over at you, seeing the three of you, he removes his hat, and you see greasy, graying hair that matches the color of his beard, and you see small, just cold eyes, just dark, cold eyes. I'm gonna have all three of you make a notice roll.
So if I roll a 6, there was something that happened?
Yeah, if you roll a 6 on your d6, you roll that d6 again and add that to your total.
Okay, so that'll be an 8.
I got a 10.
I got a 5.
Okay, all of those are successes. So, as he looks over to you, there's a moment where all three of you are kind of, there's a fear that kind of flows over you for a moment. You don't let it show in your faces. You're pretty good about that. You've seen this man before. I'd say, Lavinia and Maisie, this was one of Katrina's clients. You're not sure if he recognizes the three of you, but you definitely recognize him. And he turns. Well, isn't this nice?
Morning.
Morning.
What's nice about it?
Well, you don't see pretty girls like you in a town like this, do you?
Well, apparently you do, because here we are.
Yeah, here you are.
And you are?
I don't really think names are important in this line of work, do you?
Can
Never.
make things interesting sometimes.
He glances behind him at the man that's sleeping in the corner, and he says, "Excuse me one moment." And he turns, and his boots and spurs clunk and ding against the floor as he's walking over. You see him walk over, grab the man's drink, and pour it on his face. And the guy like coughs and wakes up and stands up for a moment in anger. And the man just is looming over him. He's very tall, and that brief moment of anger subsides, and the man just looks up at him for a moment, and he just nods to the door. And you see the man that was sleeping just get up and walk out. And then this is when you see this tall man walk over back over to you, and he motions to your table, and he says, we should talk, please. And he actually walks over to the table and pulls out a chair for one of you.
Talking is awfully boring.
But I do enjoy a man that can take control of a room. I'm gonna walk over and sit in the chair that you pulled out.
All right, he pushes the chair in after you're in it. And, are you two hesitating to sit?
I think once Lavinia sits down, Roslyn will go ahead and sit.
All right, as you walk over, he pulls the chair out for you as well.
Maisie will walk over to go sit and make no effort to conceal how irritated she is, but she'll go to sit, and if he pulls out a chair for her, she will sit in the chair that is not pulled out.
Perfect. All right, so as you're walking over, he pulls out a chair and you walk around and you sit in the other one, and he kind of nods and sits down, scoots in. You know, you're not exactly hard to notice. And
I mean, that's the point though, isn't it?
I guess that depends. My advice, you should be a little more careful about who you're stealing from. And he just casually pulls a revolver from his pocket and just sets it on the table. Finger on the trigger, not aimed at anyone, just sitting on the table in front of him. Your precious Katrina Divine. She got away with quite a bit of money from me, and I just came to get that back.
Bold of you.
Go ahead if you got something.
Bold of you to assume that we're in control of anything that she does.
Oh no, the way I see it is it's the other way around. She's your caretaker or something like that, right? She's in charge of this little operation you got going on.
Bold of you to assume that we can't take care of ourselves. Do you see her here with us now?
When she says that, I'm gonna cross my legs, hike my skirt up, and make my derringer noticeable.
All right. So you want
just
him
sort
to
of
see
backing her in like play that we can take care of ourselves.
Okay. He nods. He kind of brings the gun up a little bit, mostly just looking at the gun, not really anything else. He's just looking over his gun. Here's what I'm gonna do. I am gonna go over there, and he points to the corner that the man was sleeping in. You can talk amongst yourselves. He grabs onto the chair and scoots it back, but doesn't stand up quite yet. I'm gonna go get myself a drink. I'm gonna finish my drink. And then I'm gonna come back over here, and I sure hope you've got $500 in cash sitting on this table for me. Things might get a little ugly. He stands up, the chair kind of scrapes against the wood as he does so, pushes the chair back in, and he backs up. Just takes slow steps backwards to the other side of the saloon, and he sits down.
Ooh, I do not like that he thinks he's in charge. Let me slit his throat, please.
Oh, I was gonna shoot him, but if you want to slit his throat, that also works.
Well, we could do both.
Teamwork.
Roslyn?
Teamwork.
Right here in the open? I mean, Usually we do all that kind of stuff behind doors, right?
Well, he's
And it-
saying he's gonna get us right here in the open.
How many do you think he can get before, someone notices or one of the other of us can step up?
Well, first off, it looks like the bartender went into the back and he got rid of the guy in the corner. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this saloon does have doors. So aren't we already behind doors? The way I see it, he's gonna make a choice. There's 3 of us and 1 of him.
I mean, it does certainly seem like he paid off the bartender to go not be around for this conversation.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I mean, never been out in the open with this kind of stuff before.
You're always too sweet.
Look, I guess you could call it that. Maybe hesitant, or maybe, not wanting to die right in the floor of a saloon. I don't.
Well, if
Come
we
on.
don't do something, it certainly sounds like we're gonna die right in the floor of a saloon.
I know you're right. You're right. It's just. So what's your plan?
Well, that's what we're here to discuss right now.
I like the shooting him. We shoot him.
I mean, probably best while his face is focused on a drink.
That's exactly what I was thinking. He's gonna take that drink. He's gonna take a long swig. Done and dusted.
Sounds good to me. And Maisie will pull out, up from under her skirt, her Colt Thunderer that she has.
Okay.
And not make any move to do anything with it per se, but just be like, we should start initiating this before he notices or comes back.
So is it, you've pulled it, is it still like under the table, or have you kind of brought it up?
It's under the table just so that, like, if one of the girls kind of looked over and saw, they would know that, like, I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not obvious. It's just kind of that inter-group, dynamic of they would notice, like, my micro body movements based on the time we've spent together, but it's not something that someone outside would necessarily read or pick up on.
Gotcha. Okay. Is anyone else drawing a weapon?
Oh, Derringer out.
All right.
I'm looking at her with those eyes that are like, beat you to the kill shot.
Roslyn would have like a 1-shot or 2-shot Derringer.
I just wanted to note, by the way, I picked the Colt Thunderer just because Maisie had been on her own for quite some time, that she would have wanted something just a little bit, like, over time have gotten up to something a little bit beefier to protect herself. So that one has 6 shots and 2d6 damage.
Yes.
Just
And the range is quite a bit better as well.
Mhm.
Oh, in the time we have been together, Lavinia has noticed this and is having gun envy.
Oh yeah, no, and Maisie is frequently, like, making sure that it does not get taken from her person.
All right. Yeah, so each of you have a weapon pulled under the table. Are you waiting for him to come back over, or what is the, I guess, execution plan?
Oh, I think one of us just needs to take a shot, but you know that I prefer to savor it up close and personal, so I don't feel like it has to be me.
Are we waiting for him to take that drink, or come back over here?
I think if we get
Distance or up close?
I think we should try to get him before he gets one of us. I mean, not that I like either option, but if we hit first, then there's less chance that he'll be able to react.
Sooner the better. He's a
Ready and
flop.
waiting.
We should just swat him.
I think upon her saying that, Lavinia is just gonna take it upon herself to kind of twist out from her chair and just fire straight at him.
All right, so are you firing still sitting down, or do you stand up and like bring up the gun? How does this look?
Is probably just a bit of a flourish of a twist of her body and standing up just enough to catch aim.
All right.
And with that look on her face, like, ha.
All right, go ahead and make a shooting roll.
Unless there are other bonuses to add to that, it's a 5.
Okay. Yeah. Shooting. You wouldn't have any bonuses or penalties unless I say, "Oh, he's behind cover, have this penalty," or anything like that. And at some edges give you bonuses, but I don't think any of those do. Yeah. So it's 5. Okay. So go ahead and roll damage for that.
Ooh, that's an 8.
Okay. All right. So as you, first of all, did any of those max out?
Oh yeah, they did.
Roll
They
that.
were both,
Roll that.
Well, it was 2d4. They were both 4s.
Oh, roll them both
Oh my
again.
gosh.
They exploded.
Whoa! Oh my goodness, this guy's so dead. So that's 8. That's 13.
All right. Let's see here. All right. So you watch as Lavinia spins and fires off this gun. You hear the Derringer fire off its shot. It slams into it. Actually, it was as he was taking a drink, correct? So he's bringing up his glass, and it actually, before it comes up, shatters the glass itself, and you see the bullet actually slam through, basically like between his collarbone and his neck right here. It just slammed through. You see blood spatter up on the wall on the other side. He looks surprised by this, kind of staggers backwards, and now we're gonna draw our first round of action cards. This will be Maisie. This will be Roslyn, Queen. These are high cards. Oh, you take the lowest, don't you? I'm so sorry.
I do.
Still pretty good. An 8. Lavinia. And this will be for Mr. Man.
Oh, Mr. Man.
Mr. Man.
A 5. I'm gonna go ahead and spend one of my bennies to redraw that. A little better. All right, so it looks like up first is actually Maisie.
Fantastic. Yeah, she'll stand up, probably the chair being thrown to the ground behind her as she stands up so fast and with force, and will take a shot with her Colt Thunderer at him.
Wonderful. Roll a shooting roll.
Okay, what do I do for that?
All right, so
Just to
do
clarify.
you have a shooting skill?
Yes, I do.
What is that dice?
Okay, that's a D6.
Okay, so you'll roll a d6 plus your d6 wild dice
Gotcha.
and take whichever one's higher.
Just clarifying.
No worries.
Okay, so that is a 5.
Okay. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okey-dokey. Oh, that is also 2D6. Oh, okay, that is an 8.
Okay. All right, so you watch this bullet slam into basically his side, like his midsection, which is right on the side of it. You see the bullet actually go through and lodge into the wall on the other side. You see more blood spray out. He kind of takes that shot and stumbles back a little bit more with just this anger across his face. Now it is his turn. Unless you wanted to make any sort of movements, run anywhere, move anywhere.
I think she would not. She's too stubborn.
Just stand right there, just okay.
Yeah, right where she was, yeah.
Okay. For his turn, he has taken these 2 shots into his body. he looks up and he pulls his other revolver from his other side. Now, one gun in each hand. He brings them up and he is going to fire one at Lavinia and one at Maisie. Just the two that already pulled shots. He brings his hands up. The guns actually spin and then he fires both at the same time. Okay. So let's see how this works here. Okay. I am going to have Maisie roll 2d6 for me.
Okay. Okay, so one of those was a 6.
Okay.
And the other one was a 5.
Okay. Perfect. All right, so these two, he twirls his guns, brings them forward, aims them at you, and then he lowers both of them and fires. And Roslyn, you watch as these bullets both slam into your friend's kneecaps. Both of them, one knee, pop, pop, both of them just fall immediately to the floor as these guns hit their kneecaps. He keeps one probably on Lavinia, who shot first, and then moves the other one towards you, Roslyn. And he says, "We could have had a nice quiet discussion." And that is his turn. Roslyn, you are up next. What are you doing?
I think she's gonna point her gun at him, just like right at his gun that's pointing at her. You didn't really leave us much of an option of a quiet discussion with bringing a gun and setting it on the table in front of us. And then she is going to take a shot at him.
Okay.
Ooh. And I roll the 2d6, right, because of the hero, or do I just roll 1?
You'll roll 2 and you'll take whichever one is higher.
I got a 6 on my d6.
Roll it again.
Okay. That's a 4.
All right, so yeah.
10.
Roll some damage for that.
Okay. That is 2d4. That's a 5
Okay.
total.
All right, so you see that shot. Your hand is kind of shaking a little bit. I mean, you just saw this all happen so fast. You bring up the gun, you fire off, and you see the bullet actually graze past his shoulder. It doesn't quite even go into his body. It does cut. You see blood pooling, but it just grazes his shoulder. That is your turn. All right, so Lavinia, you are currently wounded, laying on the ground, knee just, you're afraid to look at it. You don't even know what this could possibly look at. Blood already pooling on the floor beneath you. What do you do?
From the floor, I am going to look up after he said what he said and she said what she said. I'm going to be like, well, when a gentleman comes in and says that things may get ugly to a group full of ladies perfectly capable of taking care of themselves, we're going to do what we have to do. And you just ruined some nice legs, and I'm going to fire again.
All right, I'm going to give you a Benny for that. And make a shooting roll.
Let's see, that was a 5.
Okay, roll damage.
Oh, that was less good than last time. That's only a 2.
Okay, so same, you're on the ground, you're trying to level your hand, you fire off. One of the bullets maybe grazes past his leg, but it doesn't even seem to affect him at all as he's standing there. But these shots are just firing off from every direction. All right, that is the first round of combat. Round 2, we have Maisie, a king.
Hey!
We have Roslyn, Jack. Man, you guys are having some great cards here.
Oh, I have to have one more though.
I am gonna forget that every time.
That's fine. I can remind.
A 7. How does that work? So I would draw twice. You take the lowest one, but you can also spend a Benny to redraw. So if it was something super low, I would draw again. But are you taking that 7?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She's not too confident in this, so.
All right, and then we have Lavinia. That's a 4. You want to spend a Benny for a redraw? Okay.
Yes, I do.
To keep the cards in order, here is Mr. Man. We'll keep it. And the redraw. Ooh, a king. All right, so let's see here. I will, if you'd like, let the two of you go at the same time. I mean, you're both on the ground. Yeah. You're wounded. You can act together. If you even want to come up with some sort of scene that you want to happen together, go for it.
So I will look at her really quickly and just like do a quick nod, like a we've done this before, we've been here before, and I'm gonna shoot again, and as I do, I'm gonna say, you're lucky my tits are my best asset. So
yeah, I have fired my shots, so I would need to reload.
Yeah, so if there's anything else you want to do, or anything even to help.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, can I assist her somehow?
Yeah, how would you like to go about that?
Oh, if I can position myself in a way that she can lean on me to
steady her shot.
To steady her shot, yeah.
All right, so yeah, you actually see that you have to reload, and you roll over to her, kind of on your side, like you're both on your side, so your backs are leaning against each other, and you use that to steady yourself for the shot. Go ahead and make a shooting roll. I'm gonna give you a +1 for this.
Okay, so that's a 6.
We'll roll it
I
again.
roll again?
Yeah, it explodes. You.
That's a
gosh.
6.
Roll it again.
Okay. That's a 5. I can't do math.
A lot. It's a lot. That's all we need to know.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay.
And you're gonna add 2 more d6 to this damage.
Oh, okay. 6, 6, 2, 3.
Yeah, 17, right? Yeah, something like that.
Oh, okay.
A lot. That's all.
Yep.
It's a lot. Okay.
Communication major, math, nothing.
I understand. Let's see. Okay, so you steady yourself, fire off this shot. Since you rolled so high, this is definitely against the rules, but I don't care. So there is what's called a called shot, where you would be at a -2 penalty for making the shot. Since you rolled so high and would have hit, regardless if it was a called shot or not, is there anywhere specific that you wanted to aim?
Like right smack dab near his heart. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So you aim this centered in the chest, basically. Fire off. You see the bullet slam into his chest, and you don't hear it come out the other side. And he kind of stumbles backwards a little bit again, eyes wide. And that is your turn. All right. It is his turn now, I believe. Taking that bullet into his chest, he looks around at all of you, and he actually, you see him scanning the room, scanning the situation, and he darts out the saloon door. Roslyn.
So are they both on the ground?
They are, yeah, bleeding.
Okay. Can she do like a medicine check on both of them or on one of them? to try to, I don't know, rip some fabric off her skirt and try to tie up.
Sure.
Stop the bleeding.
I'll say if you're not gonna try to chase him, you could easily take the time to do a medicine check on both of them if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, she won't.
Yeah.
She won't chase after him.
All right, so he rushes out, and you see Roslyn immediately drop down to her hands and knees, looking at both of you. Go ahead and make a medicine roll for each of them. Just tell me which one you're checking first.
Is that a healing roll?
If you have healing, then yeah, that'll work. Yeah.
Okay. So that is a 2 for the first one.
There's so much blood. You can't see anything unless you want to spend a Benny to try that again.
Yeah, I'll spend a Benny. And that's a reroll, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And that is a 3.
Okay. You're able to basically so much blood is pooling that you have to kind of scoop it away in order to be able to see the wound. You still can't quite make anything out, not at this moment.
Okay, she would just quickly tie it up then, like,
okay.
Oh, don't know, just tie it up.
Don't know. All right, sure.
Sorry. And that was for, was that for Maisie?
Sure,
or
yeah.
whoever? Okay.
Yep, whichever one you were checking first.
Yeah, we'll do Maisie first, and then we'll do Lavinia.
Okay.
And that is a 4.
Okay. This one, for some reason, isn't bleeding quite as much. You're actually able to kind of wipe it away, clean it away. You wipe the leg, and there's a solid maybe second before blood starts coming from the wound again. You can see where the bullet entered, and you can see an exit wound. And it's luckily not quite on the kneecap. It appears to be more in the calf itself, but very, very close to the kneecap, very close to the shin. You're not entirely sure if there are any broken bones yet, but you are able to see the bullet wound and do with that what you may. So seeing that the bullet passed through all the way, she knows the bullet's not in there, so she's also going to tie that up, try to stop the bleeding. Okay.
And as she's doing so, you'll be fine. We'll go see a doctor. The bullet's not in you, so that's good. We just gotta.
Why are you telling her she's gonna be fine? What about me? You didn't say nothing nice to me.
Sorry, I couldn't see. You're bleeding too much. I'm sorry. I tried to stop the bleeding as best as I could. We'll go to the doctor and take care of both of you.
I'm just laughing.
Can I do like a healing check on myself?
Sure, you can try. You're worried now. You're concerned. You sit up and you start looking at your.
Yeah. So I have a D8 in that. Do I also still roll the D6?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a chance one would be higher still than the other. So.
A D, and it's an 8.
An 8 on your D8. Nice.
Yeah.
So that would explode, but it's a success regardless. So
okay.
Go ahead and roll it again, and we'll just see how much of a success this is.
That's a 7.
Oh, okay. All right. So you sit up and you're looking at your leg,
yeah,
and
I'm pissed that I didn't get the same kind of treatment. I am mad.
And I'm laughing. I'm just laughing.
All right. So you sit up. You look at your leg. It's a little easier for you too because you feel exactly where the pain is. It's nothing to get lost in the blood. So you begin wiping your leg as soon as you touch right below your kneecap. Your whole leg just shoots with pain. It kind of shoots up into your hip, into your spine. Taking a moment to get a good look at this. I'm assuming Roslyn tied probably pretty close to the correct area, but as you're looking, your kneecap seems to be in place. But you're not sure how well you'll be able to bend and unbend this leg. The bullet entered directly below your kneecap and definitely hit bone. You don't feel an exit wound.
I gotta go see a damn doctor. I hate doctors.
That's what I said. We were going to go see a doctor. Both of you have to go see the doctor.
This is why I like to do it up close and personal. They don't get a chance to take a shot.
What are you talking about? That was fun. And he ran. The only thing I'm mad about is we didn't win outright.
I'm mad you didn't run after him. And I look at Roslyn.
But yeah, I mean, I could have, but then it would have just been me against him. And you saw how I shot him the first time. Do you really think I would have gotten him in one more shot? I only have one more shot left in this.
You saw how well we had shot him up before he ran. He was about to topple over.
Maybe. Or maybe he had a whole nother, like a gang with him or something out there.
You think they wouldn't have come in by now?
First time they heard a gunshot, they would have run in.
I
think it's time to do some target practice.
First, let's just go to the damn doctor, please, so I can get it over with.
All right. Well, did either one of you see a doctor in the town? Like any signs or anything?
No.
There was like the tiniest little, almost like one room, more of like a nurse's office sort of thing. There is a doctor in town. It's not like a hospital or anything, but there is a place you can visit to seek immediate medical attention.
Well, one of you's gonna have to let me lean on you, because my knee ain't moving.
Well, seeing as I also got shot, I think you're leaning on her.
I think you both are gonna have to lean on me.
I'm trying to do my best to lean on a chair and stand up because my pride does not want to let me have to lean on anyone or look like I'm wounded.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, Maisie is gonna make a real effort to stand up on her own, but it will be futile, I'm sure.
With Lavinia, you can bend your leg. You can not put pressure on it. Like when you start to step, it just hurts too much. Maisie, you don't even think about putting your foot on the ground. You're standing with the one leg. Your leg also kind of drags a little bit. You don't have control of what's happening below your knee right now. So Roslyn, you just watch them stand up and they're like, I'm good, I'm fine. Let's go. And they're just standing in their own puddles of blood.
Are you sure y'all don't need help?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I do. Half of my leg is useless.
Somebody give me a cane. Do we have a cane? Something attractive, nice top to it. I can do this.
Get over it. You got shot.
You got shot worse, and I'm gonna lean over and get help and try and take the help.
All right. I don't have the energy for you.
What's even better about this is the way I have you on my screen. Roslyn is literally in the middle. So it's wonderful. Okay, yeah, so how are we getting out of the saloon and across the street?
Maisie will sling herself over Roslyn as like a human crutch. Obviously using her good leg to do as much of the work as possible, but foot dragging.
Right.
I've got my hand on her other shoulder, and I am doing as best I can to hop as much as possible to prove I don't need help.
Okay.
And Roslyn is she's pretty short already, and now she's a little more shorter because carrying all this weight of everyone.
Yeah, it takes you a while to get across the street at this pace. Basically like helping two people along. It's a very slow hobble. I'd like to think that it's like a scene that goes on for way too long. As they come out and it's just going by and everybody's like saying I can do it, you can't do it, we're almost there, we're not even halfway, like it's just this all the way across the street. And finally you make it to what feels like an eternity for especially Roslyn, who's like helping the girls that are just bickering and complaining the whole time, and you're just like, oh, you finally made it to the door of this doctor's office.
But would one of you like to knock? I got my hands full.
I kind of lean over on my good leg and I just daintily tap on the door.
You hear, we're closed.
We got an emergency though.
We're bleeding out.
3 lovely ladies need some assistance.
I can repay you in very pleasurable ways.
You hear scraping, almost like furniture moving or something. You just hear something heavy move, and then you hear footsteps come over. The door unlocks and opens, and you see a doctor, a man dressed somewhat nice for this town. You've seen definitely better, but he's dressed somewhat nice. He's got his hair, it's kind of greasy as well, it's kind of slicked back a little bit, very short cut though. And you see he's got like perfectly round glasses, tiny little wire frames on his nose, and he's currently wiping his hands dry from being washed. You see a little bit of like pink on the towel as he's probably washing some type of blood off of his hands. He looks first at your faces, and then he looks down at the bleeding legs. And he steps aside. He doesn't even say anything. He just steps aside and motions for you to come in.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's about time we meet one nice man. The last one we met shot us, so.
Tell me that blood you're washing off your hands isn't from the one that shot us.
I know nothing about anybody shooting anybody. You hear gunshots all the time in this town.
If it was the one that shot us, we could just pick up a scalpel and fix it anyway.
Good to know. Lets you in, shuts the door, and you see one poor excuse for like a hospital bed, and then you see a couple just wooden chairs in the corner as well. Pretty good, a lot of lanterns hanging, good lighting for at least the hospital chair part. And he looks to Maisie and he says, I believe you should probably go first.
Oh, I was gonna say the bed's mine. And Maisie will flop onto it.
Yeah, I will have Roslyn make a notice roll for me.
That is a 5.
Okay, with the other two being a little too distracted, Maisie laying down, Lavinia trying to find a way to sit down that doesn't quite hurt. You glance back at the doctor who has shut the door and is now locking it as well. And you see a little padlock on the inside, which he snaps locked and puts the key into his pocket. Maisie has situated herself on the hospital bed, and Lavinia is kind of sitting on one of the chairs. Roslyn has walked in and kind of turned and saw the doctor shutting the door and locking it back. he turns around towards all of you and he says, "It's not entirely my business to ask what happened, but what the hell happened?" And he's walking over to now look at Maisie's leg.
Some asshole in a bar shot us.
This is not entirely...
What kind of gentleman goes around shooting ladies?
That is an excellent question.
He didn't like our proposition, so to speak.
Yeah, most gunshot victims I have here are typically dueling men, but there's a first for everything, I suppose. And he begins walking over and he takes another key out of his pocket and unlocks a medicine cabinet. And he opens it up and you see him grabbing like vials, gauze, syringes, bandages, all kinds of stuff, alcohol. He closes it, locks it back, tucks the key in his pocket, gets it all situated. You're new to town, am I correct? And he's filling up a syringe.
New enough.
Ish.
All right, fair enough. He has that syringe filled, and he fills one more.
What you putting in that syringe?
Just a little bit to help with the pain. We're gonna have to set your leg. And he looks at you. We're gonna have to get the bullet out too, and that's not gonna be pleasant.
I'm trusting you with an awful lot here, Doctor.
Most people do.
Do you have any sort of like drink that we could have that would help a little bit?
I have some alcohol to steady your nerves, but digging a bullet out of a knee, a drink ain't gonna do much for.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe not for her, but maybe for me
Oh,
to have to sit here and watch
Roslyn
it.
has to go second.
Certainly. And he sets the syringes down. And you actually see him open up the medicine cabinet again, put the vials back in, shut them so that just the syringes are out and the gauze and everything. And he kind of glances back. Sorry about all the precautions. We had an incident of a lot of medicine being stolen from town before. I'm very careful now.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Doctor, you yelled at us when we knocked on your door and seem a little skittish.
Skittish? No, just very careful about who comes in here.
Yeah, I'd call that skittish, but however you'd like to describe it is fine by me.
Well, if I wasn't about to work on your leg, I would probably have a drink as well. He walks over and takes out a couple of cups, grabs a whiskey bottle, brings it over, pours. He pours 3 drinks. He offers one to each of you, if you'd like.
Oh, I don't particularly care for alcohol, but thank you.
Roslyn will take one.
Okay,
Oh,
just
I'll
one,
take
or will you take Maisie's as well?
No, she'll just stick with one. She just
Okay.
doesn't want to get drunk. She just needs to settle.
Yeah, steady,
I will look
steady
at you
nerves.
not taking that third one, knowing that she's not going to take the third one, and I will take the third one.
Wonderful.
I knock the first one back, and I'm sipping the other one.
Okay. And then he grabs the syringes and he walks over and he's tenderly trying to straighten your leg the best that he can to get a better. Straightens it, sets it down just barely, And then you feel just the slight pinch of the needle.
And funnily enough, it's the pinch that makes her scream.
She's been fine this whole time, but injects the pain medicine in, pulls the needle, sets it aside. That should take just a moment, and then we'll be able to get started. He then walks over to Lavinia. He's like, "Mind letting me have a look at that?"
I pull up my skirt and look at him with deceptive, like, sad puppy dog eyes and go, "Think you can fix it?"
All right. He leans down and he begins inspecting the leg and says, "Who wrapped this?"
I just point.
Very well done. And he's kind of looking it over.
Yeah, she really messed mine up.
I mean, I wasn't the one who put the bullet in you.
You think that helps? It doesn't.
Yeah, he looks at your leg and sees the bullet passed all the way through and is nodding, and I will go ahead and give you something for the pain here, but it should just be an easy cleaning and more secure wrapping to last you a little bit longer. He kind of straightens your leg a little bit, and you feel the pinch of the needle as well. Injects that and pulls the needle, sets your leg down gently, and then goes over. You watch him like dispose of both needles, wash up his hands again, and then he comes over with more of the gauze and the alcohol and the bandages, and he pulls up a stool right beside Maisie. You see
You're very sanitary, Doctor. I love a man with clean hands.
You see him like smile and then like regain his composure for a moment, and you see a little bit of like red on his cheeks as he kind of begins taking off the wrappings that Roslyn had put on before. You notice as he's like moving your leg now, touching your knee, it doesn't quite hurt as much, and you're like, oh, that's kind of nice. It's not sending pain up your spine or anything. He's able to work with it. Roslyn and Lavinia, you see him almost like digging into her knee, and just she's not reacting at all. And you're like, okay.
I'm gonna turn and just keep drinking the drink, the remaining
just
second
looking
drink.
away.
Oh yeah.
All right, so it's about maybe a couple of minutes into this that Roslyn, you notice Maisie is asleep. Glance over at Lavinia, and Lavinia's asleep with the drink in her hand as well, head resting against the wall, like back against it. The doctor has removed the bullet. You see he has put it to the side, and he is pouring alcohol into the wound, cleaning it. He's dressing the wound, and you see he's in the middle of actually wrapping the leg right now.
I know we didn't specify. Would we have had time to refill our guns? Like,
I would say
with
you
the
would have done
shots?
that before heading over, yeah.
Okay, just in case.
Mhm.
And looking around the room, is the main door like right there? Is this like a one room thing, or did he bring us back to a back room?
It's a mostly one room thing. Like as soon as you walk in, you have a tiny little open area. There are chairs in the left-hand corner on the other side. There is some sort of shelf right across from this door. And then on the right-hand side, there's the bed and then a tiny little nook of like a little sort of kitchen area with a sink, more of a sanitary station. And that's the room. And the little medicine cabinet is between the sanitary station and the bed.
Okay. And is there any sort of like there is a small back room, you said? Or this is just kind of it?
This seems to be it.
As he's finishing up, I think Roslyn is kind of going to get up and just look around, not get too close to any of the medicine cabinets or anything, just kind of feign interest into what is going on. And then she's going to come over and get kind of close and, kind of maybe lean over a bit. Be like, so how long have you been a doctor here? You seem to be doing a pretty good job.
He is just now finished taping the bandages onto Maisie's leg. He says, I've been a doctor running on about 25 years now. And he fixes the clothes the best that he can. They're still like drenched in blood, but he does the best he can to like pull the skirt back just into place. And then he looks over at Lavinia. You see him stand up, go over, wash his hands once again, grab new equipment, and bring it over to crouch down and work on Lavinia's leg from her position in the chair.
Now, were they supposed to fall asleep? I thought it was just for the pain.
That's fairly common for pain medication this strong. Wanted to make sure they didn't feel anything.
I mean, that makes sense to me. 25 years a doctor, that's a long time. I mean, that's pretty much that's longer than I've been alive. You must have seen some stuff in that time then.
I've seen plenty. It's kind of why I came out here. It's quieter mostly. And he looks like back over at Maisie for a moment, like this is some crazy shit.
Now, I have a proposition to make.
Sure.
Could I potentially spend a penny to wake up earlier than perhaps normal due to the fact that my injury was so severe and painful that somehow some of it might slip through the medicine and therefore bring me back to consciousness sooner than perhaps normal?
I will say, yeah, you can do that. I will take one of your bennies, and that will be at a cinematically appropriate moment.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay. At this point, it doesn't take him long to clean and bandage Lavinia's wound. He says it's gonna hurt for a while. It's gonna be bruised, gonna be tender, but looks like it mostly tore through some muscle. Eventually, she'll be fine. And at this point, he stands up and goes over to wash up again. And where are you standing right now?
I think she would have tried to stay close to him, so when he went over to Lavinia, she would have walked over with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so excuse me, you hear from behind you the same like heavy furniture movement that you heard from the other side of the door before you came in.
She'll turn around and look and see if she can see what that noise is coming from.
As you look over, the one shelf that was directly across from the door is pushed aside, and you see it had covered a small doorway into the back room. And you see coming out the man from the saloon with a shotgun in his hand. He comes out holding the shotgun, aiming it to you. He says, "You're gonna pull that gun and you're gonna throw it on the floor."
She will do get it from under her skirt, show it to him, kind of throw it onto the floor, skidding it away from her a little bit.
As you pull it out too, he straightens up the shotgun a little bit, like ready to go, and you just show it and toss it. It clatters against the floor.
She wouldn't even put her finger on the trigger. It would be absolutely like flat against it.
Okay. He steps in, and you watch him look over at Lavinia, look over at Maisie. This is quite the morning. I must say, I'm a little impressed.
It has been a while since I've had a morning this exciting. That's true.
Oh, look, we're helping each other out. I have a question for you. Where's Katrina Devine?
I don't know. And that's the God's honest truth. She said she had some business to attend to.
He puts the shotgun up and just fires off one shot, aims it back at you again. I will ask you again. Where is Katrina Devine?
I don't know. She said she had some business to attend to, and she had to go somewhere else, and she left us here, and we've not seen nor heard from her in days.
At this point, you hear a faint knock on the door. And the shotgun now turns to the sheriff, or to the doctor. And the doctor's, I didn't tell anybody. And then he just puts his fingers to his lips. Hello? You hear a woman's voice from outside. Silence for a little while. A heavier knock. I heard you were looking for me. Katrina Devine here? This isn't Katrina's voice. You know that just from this side of the door. But this kind of makes him a little more interested, and he nods to the door to the doctor. The doctor kind of scoots past you, and he actually walks over to the door. You see him with shaking hands taking the key from his pocket and fumbling to unlock the padlock. He opens it, unlocks the door, pulls it open, and you see a woman standing in the doorway. She's dressed like a traveler, but it's almost like she's got like a corset and boots, but then traveler's gear over it. She has some sort of hood up, like obscuring her hair, and kind of like tied around, almost like to protect it from the dust. And she has bright red lipstick. And as she comes in, she smiles at you, Roslyn. Hello. You have no idea who this is. No clue. But she comes in and she holds out her hand for the doctor, and she says, Katrina Devine. And the doctor shakes her hand, almost like looking sick, like he's... You definitely see guilt from what he has done. She comes in, and the man says, shut the door, Doc. He does so. He shuts it. He locks it, clicks the padlock, puts the key in his pocket, and he says, I'll take that key. Doctor pulls the key, steps over, hands it to the man, and at this point the man takes the key but grabs onto the doctor's hand while he's doing it, pulls him just a little bit closer, and you hear one more shotgun blast as the doctor is just blasted through the chest, backwards, slams down onto the ground, and then he, the double barrel now empty, puts it back in its harness at his back. That shotgun blast has started to wake you up a little bit, Maisie. You're still not quite conscious, but you're in that state of where you're now able to hear the things around you. You're not quite able to move yet. Your muscles are still lethargic, and but you are able to hear things happening around you now.
Oh yeah, she'll be planning slowly as the information comes in.
Okay. he now pulls one of his revolvers from his pocket and he points both Roslyn and Katrina to go sit in the chairs. And he walks over to stand by the door. So he's standing by the door facing inward. Basically, all four of you are in a line. Just one of you are in the bed. And he sits there. He pulls the doctor's stool over there and actually sits on the stool. And Katrina goes to speak and he says, ah. And then just goes back to, he's just looking at his revolver and he just seems to be waiting for something. As he like starts spinning the chamber, clicking it into the gun, clicking it out, spinning the chamber, clicking it to the gun. This happens a few times before he starts messing with just some stiff. He's still got blood-soaked clothes. He still looks like he's pretty hurt, and he looks over you, and he points the gun at Roslyn. Why don't you gather up their guns for me? Your friends, you know, the guns they shot me with, gather them up.
Oh, okay.
Now I will ask this. What weapons do you all carry?
Maisie carries her Colt Thunderer and 2 knives.
Okay, so, and then what does Lavinia carry?
The Derringer and also a knife.
Okay, so Roslyn, it is your decision. He knows of the guns, obviously, but I imagine the knives are a little more concealed. So it is up to you what you take from the two.
She is just going to take the guns because that's all he asked for.
Okay, fair enough.
Would Maisie like indicate that she was awake when Roslyn went over to her at all?
I will say you go over and you like touch just maybe even her arm or something to begin to pull the gun from her, and you do like the fingers just kind of twitch a little bit and you see the eyes moving but that she can't open them yet. So she's stirring and you know that much.
So as she takes the gun, I think wherever like she stores her knives, like if they're on her thigh or whatever, I think she would like, not in a very overt way, but somehow like indicate that I'm leaving you these, use them kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And then would go and collect Lavinia's gun.
All right. So all 3 guns he has just kind of kicked into the corner that he's sitting beside. And he says, what about you, darling? You have a weapon? And looks to this Katrina Divine person. And she looks up at him and she says, well, you're welcome to check. And you see him kind of chuckle, and then he clicks the chamber back in and points the gun to her and he says, enough with the games. We're done with the games. Do you have a weapon? And she reaches into a side pocket, almost like a bag that she has on a belt. And she reaches in and she pulls out one Peacemaker pistol. And she pulls out a bottle of some sort of alcohol. And she says, can I offer you both? And he stands up. His boots clunk heavily as he steps. He takes the gun, he takes the alcohol. He heads back over, sits down, pops it open, and begins drinking. And as he's sitting there, almost, it seems to be like he's waiting for the other 2 to wake up. And he's just drinking this alcohol. Once he gets about halfway through this bottle, this Katrina woman looks over to you, Roslyn, and just gives you a little nod.
She will nod back, not really sure what she means, but she's just nodding.
It's like like a comforting kind of like.
Okay.
At this point, so Maisie, you will be able to hear this. Katrina looks to this man and she says, why don't you tell them what you're really doing here? He clicks the revolver in, and you see he has taken 5 of the 6 bullets out. Puts those 5 on his lap. And he says, I already told him. Someone's got to pay for treating me this way, don't you think? You're the leader of this little operation, aren't you? And looks to Katrina, and she kind of cocks her head for a moment. Unclicks the chamber, puts the 1 bullet in his hand, looks at it, makes sure that Katrina and Roslyn both see it too. Kind of blows on it, puts it back in the chamber, spins it, locks it in. Oh, it looks to me like we have 6 chambers, 5 empty. I'm sure you know what that means. And then Katrina goes, I thought you said we were done with games. Well, look, I'm a little bored. Didn't realize it was going to take him so long to wake up. I will say at this point, Maisie, you are awake. You can decide whether or not you're pretending to still be asleep or if you're making it known that you are awake.
I am going to still pretend like I'm asleep. Because I want to make sure that I have like the type of bodily movement that I want to have. So I'm being careful.
Okay, so yeah, we'll say with that, you know what side of you is probably obscured from his vision, and you're trying to move that arm, like that hand. You're trying to move those fingers to see how well you actually have your strength back, and it's difficult, but you're getting there.
Yeah, I won't want to do anything until I can tell my body is capable.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so Katrina shakes her head, and what would have happened if these girls would have paid you your money? And he kind of looks at her curiously. The money's not what you were after, is it? He chuckles. So do you have my ring or not? And she goes, there you go. What's so special about this ring? And he takes another long swig, sets the bottle on his knee. You ever, branded cattle? Or a horse? Of course not. You're too pretty, aren't you? What I do is I make sure to brand every one of my victims before I bury them, so that they know it was me when they dig them up, when I'm too far gone to be caught. He takes another swig. So you could see why I'd be a little upset. Do you have my ring or not? And Katrina goes, I might. But you're gonna let these 3 go. And he chuckles and takes another long drink. You actually hear, as he's putting the bottle down, you hear something clink inside of it at this point. He doesn't seem to have noticed. And he says, it's a little personal now. They shot me multiple times. They didn't, I'm If it was any other circumstance, I'd be mighty impressed with these girls. Didn't even hesitate. That one there, and he points to Lavinia, who's still asleep in the chair. That one there shot me before they even finished planning. It's almost a shame I gotta put you all down. And Katrina nods. Yeah. Almost a shame. And he kind of squints. Takes another drink, finishing it off, and you hear something clinking. And he kind of makes a face, puts the bottle down, and spits out a ring. And he looks at it for a moment, and it's like a mix of emotions. There's anger, there's like this sick, twisted happiness, this relief as he's looking at his ring, and he slips it back onto his finger. He's just got this crooked smile on his face, and he grabs onto the revolver with this almost like childish excitement to him now. You see the dark and the broody kind of just go away, and there's now just this sick, twisted excitement about what's going to happen next. And as he holds onto this gun and goes to stand up, you see him kind of wave around a little, dizzied, and he sits back down, and you see him trying to regain his composure, blinking. He looks over at the bottle, and then he looks at Katrina and says, "What did you do?"
I have a question about,
Sure.
like, how many feet away from him would I be?
It's a pretty small place. I would say you're no more than probably 15 feet away. It's a pretty tight space that you're all sitting in.
Okie dokie.
You see him, the childish excitement is kind of fading, and you see him raise up his gun, and he's gonna fire at Katrina. Click! It just clicks. It doesn't fire, and for a moment, you're pretty sure he forgot that he only had one bullet in the gun as he fired, and you just see his eyes widen for a moment. In this moment, is there anything anyone would like to do?
Yeah, so right as I'll have, had my eyes open just a little bit for it not to be discernible, to kind of see, as he stumbles down. So sort of right as he's firing, I will have like slipped one of my knives out and like move to sit up and throw it at him towards his throat.
Okay,
Meanwhile, Lavinia's legs have like fallen into an unladylike position, and she's snoring a little.
Blissfully unaware.
Poor Roslyn is just getting, trauma. It's fine.
Oh no, not.
Because it's not exactly shooting, but it's still ranged. Do you have a fighting stat?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I do.
I will say roll fighting.
Okay, so
that.
so is that, it's a d6, so is that 2d6?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because with your attack roll, you'll still have your hero attack.
Okay. That's a 6.
Sweet. Roll again.
Okay. Okay, so that's a 9 total.
All right, roll damage for your knife.
Okie dokie. Okay, so my strength is a d8 plus a d4.
Nice.
Imagine knowing how to do math. Okay, so that's a 4 on the d4.
Reroll that. That explodes. So
Okay.
you'll add that all together.
That's another 4 on the d4.
Roll it again.
Okay, and that's a 2, so that's 10 plus so that's 17 total. Aiming for his throat. Just
Okay.
like tired
Cool.
of hearing him talk.
Tell me how this man dies.
So right as it clicks and the look of shock crosses his face because he forgot that there was only one bullet, I will in that exact split second have thrown my knife and it'll lodge right in his throat, cutting the jugular right there, and he'll be gurgling and spitting up blood, unable to say anything, and I'll just look him dead in the eye and say, I'm tired of your damn mouth.
All right, and as that's happening, he tries to bring his arm up, and he does fire twice, but they're both clicks before his shoulder slams into the wall and he falls over, and you hear just a few more gurgles before his body falls entirely limp. Your muscles are still so tired. It was insane. You got this throw out, and your arm, you didn't even control your arm after the throw. It was enough to throw it, and then your arm just falls limp in your lap, and you even kind of just slump back down. And at this point, Lavinia, you are coming to from a really good dream you just had. Awesome.
I stretch, and as I open my eyes and kind of take in the carnage, I just go, wait, what in the high hell happened while I was sleeping, and how long was I out?
Before anybody else gets anything out, this woman stands up. She pulls a folded piece of paper from her pocket, and you see her. She actually hands it to Roslyn, winks, and she leaves.
Wait, where are you going? You might be the one. Oh, and Maisie's out of it, so she, doesn't even fully register that the woman has completely left.
Yeah, you hear her heeled boots click against the floor as she leaves, and there is Maisie half conscious. There's Lavinia coming to and asking what the hell happened. Roslyn, what do you do?
As she's staring down at this piece of paper, she said she was Katrina. That's what she told the man, and he seemed to think that was true. That wasn't our Katrina, though.
No, it wasn't. What she give you?
She's gonna open up the folded piece of paper.
Yeah, you unfold it, and all it says is, St. Louis has the real fun. Come see me. And it's signed with a lipstick kiss at the bottom.
Have either one of you ever been to St. Louis?
I've traveled through briefly, but not long, no.
Oh.
She's gonna show the letter so that the lipstick kiss is shown and everything. Well, apparently St. Louis is where all the fun is happening.
It sure sounds like it if it's from that woman. She might have been the woman of my dreams. I don't know.
Well, I guess we need to find a stagecoach or a train or something.
Well, Katrina did tell us to wait here.
But if she said she was Katrina and she knew about this man who was coming after us because of Katrina, and she gave us a letter, maybe from Katrina, would that be Katrina telling us to go to St. Louis?
It could also be some woman that's been saying she's Katrina and attaching us to whatever it was that she was doing.
Does Roslyn recognize the handwriting on the letter?
Make a common knowledge roll.
Heyo. That is a 4, and then because of streetwise, I get to add 2, so that's a 6.
Okay. You swear you've seen this handwriting somewhere, but nowhere personally, like not something written to you, not something you even like knew, not someone you knew writing it and you were sitting beside them. You've seen this handwriting before, and as you're thinking about it, you start remembering a couple of the different signs at different rail yards. You're pretty sure one of the rail yard owners. This matches their handwriting so perfectly. The ridiculous loops, the loops and curves where they don't need to be, just all of the flair that's put into the handwriting. You're pretty sure this handwriting looks like Nina Devlin's, one of the owners of one of the rail yards.
I don't think this is from Katrina. She's going to pass the note to probably Lavinia first, since she's right next to her.
Okay.
And see if she recognizes the handwriting. And if she doesn't, she'll share what she knows. I think
I'll look at it, and do I have any reason why I would also recognize that? Probably not.
I'll say probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna just hand it right back to her and shake my head.
as she hands it to Maisie, I think this is Mina Devlin's handwriting. You know, one of the railroad owners.
You would all recognize the name, but for like a personal standpoint, it doesn't really mean anything to most of you. It'd be like basically the equivalent of someone being like, oh, that's this celebrity's handwriting. A very well-known name, but nobody you've ever met before.
Why would she be pretending to be Katrina? Why would she help us out?
Is it maybe a publicity stunt to get people to buy tickets to St. Louis?
Well, that's an awfully risky publicity stunt. She's well known. Why? I don't know if she needs to do anything like that.
How would she even know Katrina? I mean, it's not like Katrina's on the same level as Mina.
And how would she know that he would be here and we would be here and this would happen?
And she had his ring. When she mentions the ring, she's going to get up and look at the ring like that he was talking about branding or whatever.
Okay, yeah. As he was executed, he fell over, his arms kind of sprawled out a little bit, and you walk over and you just pull the ring off his finger, his arm just thuds back down, and as you're looking at it, this is around the time that you hear someone come through the doorway. You see the local sheriff standing with his gun drawn, looking in at the doctor shot through the chest right in front of the door, looks over at the man executed in the corner, looks at the bleeding woman on the hospital bed, another bleeding woman in a chair, and then you standing there looking at a ring, and he like aimed his gun when he first came in, and then he just kind of puts it up like this and Do I even want to know?
Frankly, we don't even know.
I mean, man came in, shot us, doctor was taking care of us, man bullied the doctor into making 2 of us fall asleep, shot the doctor after the doctor helped him, and was holding us hostage, and we got out of it.
He seems to be processing everything you just said. He looks at the doctor, he looks at the dead man on the floor. Well, that sounds believable enough for me. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna go.
That's a wise choice. You're awfully handsome.
Oh, well, he kind of stands up and straightens his clothes a little bit and turns around and walks out with this new attitude.
Loot the body, Roslyn.
I didn't hear that. And he's
I can't move yet.
Oh no, let her go. Maybe close the door first.
Yeah, I'll go close the door.
I can't really see, so
as you're closing the door, you do close it. You see the whole front of the door is just blasted with shotgun pellets, and the whole lock system itself blasted as well, and it just has the doctor's blood all over the inside of this door. As you're closing it, it doesn't even like latch. You can shut it and it just kind of comes back open. It'll shut enough though.
She'll maybe scoot one of the chairs over to make it close a little bit more, just so it's not
scoot the
swinging
stool
open.
Over. Yeah.
Yeah. What does the ring look like that she has?
As you're looking at the ring, it's just a simple. It almost looks like it's like copper or something, and the front of it is a perfect circle with a horseshoe imprint on the inside. And seeing that, you've heard of the horseshoe killer before. It's a pretty popular story everywhere. And there's just this moment of realizing exactly who the man was.
Okay. So she'll put that somewhere for now. And then I guess not like happy to do so, but like kind of moving his clothes around, trying to find like if he had any more guns or valuables or whatever she thinks the other gals would want.
Sure. Do you have an investigation skill?
I do. I have a notice, and I have thievery. I do not have an investigation. Unless that is one I am untrained in.
I'll let you do thievery. You can do thievery. Blah blah blah. I can't talk.
I will thieve him.
I will thieve him.
That is a 2.
Do you want to spend a penny and roll again?
No, Rosalind's not that interested in it.
Okay, so you kind of like are obviously like trying to move the clothes, and you just, I didn't find anything. Like you just kind of give up. Yeah.
Would I be mobile enough and see that she's being super ginger that I would just go over and just pat the guy down?
I'd say you could definitely like crawl over.
Okay.
Still probably not strong enough to get up and walk or anything, but yeah, you crawl over, start patting the guy down. Go ahead, and you have thieving, right?
I do.
Can you at least get my knife out of his neck?
I will do that for you in a second.
Thanks.
Oh, that's not bad. That's an 8.
Okay. Yeah, looking through this man's pockets, he has a Bowie knife on him. He has his other revolver on him still. He has a pocket full of ammunition, both for his shotgun and his revolvers. You see he has kind of a little kind of backpack sort of situation going on. It's not quite like strapped on both sides. It seems to be like a satchel with a strap that goes around his middle instead. And inside of it, you see some more ammo. You see a knife block, like a knife sharpener. You see there's a little bit of rope in there, not much. It's kind of bulky, not easy to carry around in a bag, but he's got a little bit of rope. He has just some dried like jerky, just food for the road. You can tell he definitely doesn't stay in one place very long. And you also find about maybe $75 in there as well.
I would like to take one of his revolvers for myself.
Cool.
I'm gonna pull her knife out of his neck. I'm gonna take his other knife and I'm gonna hold it up and go, who wants?
Obviously I want the knife.
So I will hand her knife back and his knife. And I'm gonna grab as much of that ammunition as I can for the revolver and
All right.
pocket that.
And what specific kind of knife did you say that was?
Bowie knife. And I'll give you guys all the stats and the whatever ammo count later. All right, so you've collected. There's nothing on him that tells you his name. There's nothing on him that tells you what connection he may have had with this woman that came in and had his ring. Nothing really gives you any answers. You know you recognized him. You know he was one of Katrina's clients. But that's it.
Be sure to grab that money.
Oh yeah, I try to pocket the money without telling any of you that I found it.
Oh no. Oh, Maisie. Did Maisie see that?
We'll say for the purpose of your guys' relationship in general, you pull the money and you fold it and you go to like pocket it, and then that's when Maisie says, "Be sure to grab his money," and you're like,
damn it.
That's added to the group pile. Let me remind you, you were snoozing while I threw a knife into his neck.
I shot him first.
I killed him.
And I had to sit there and talk to him and be held at gunpoint while y'all got to sleep.
Yeah, we get it. You made out with the trauma. We got it.
All right, I think, okay, we can split it. This time, that's fine.
Split it.
and it's around this time that you begin to hear what sound like horses trotting into town, approaching from the distance. You can hear it through the cracked open door. Some horses coming into town.
I think Roslyn will go either to the door or if there's a window to peek out. Just kind of peek out and see if she can see anything.
Peeking out, you see 3 horses, a rider on each, and you see them galloping up. One of them is actually Katrina Devine.